Right, so we're back again. This time we're doing Phantoms 2 versus Wessex from the last day of the season last year. There's a couple of things I've picked up. I've watched this game through a couple of days ago. We'll pick a few things up that I've noticed. The first one that will come up is as they walk up in a second. So there's the first time. I'll see if you notice it again in a second. There's number 2. Right, and there's number 3. So, they're the first ones that I've picked up on here. I'll take this one as an example. So what's happened is really good in coming up in that line I talked about previously. All players are getting up ahead. And they're all in this nice aggressive line. But what you've noticed is you'd have players like Eddie that will bring their arm up to come that aggressive motion. Adam likes to throw from that hip, so to him that's his aggressive stance, but he's not doing anything with it, and he's leaving George to throw. So that's that instance, and if I just go back a little while to the previous time where they walked up with 3, and do that again, you'll see again, the line's a bit more disjointed here, but again, Eddie's got that aggressive hand up. George has dropped off quite a bit and he's not faking, which is putting a lot of stress on that person who's throwing on this side to get that hit. So that's the first thing I picked up straight away in this game. So we're going to watch that play again. And there's 2 things that I really want to focus on in this play. So Wessex walk up, and it's really nice from them. Nice pressure, good fakes, really stepping into it. You see them right now, they've faked once and they're faking again all at the same time. Locking down this wing and the fake in the middle. So they've thrown. George and Eddie do a really nice job of pushing up together in continuity. Gives George this really nice counter. But what you'll notice is their middle player is now sprinting back for this counter here onto George, as he should. The shot's there. This other winger stayed back and is not focused, and you'll notice Eddie, when he drops back in this straight line, which leaves George completely exposed. Matt's picked up the ball here, but he's not really able to provide that much support. So he's stepped in and he's just going to wait for him to throw. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just if you expect George to get hit and you'd expect Matt to get the counter. Matt misses. But the main thing to pick up from this, the angle that Eddie should be taking, especially because he's looking in front and his opposite player is really far back. So really Eddie wants to be backtracking this kind of line. You don't want to go too aggressive. You don't want to go too much this way because then you're just going to expose yourself. But you want to come in this like central line to then come back to provide Georgia loads of support because their wingers not really do much. It's a bit different if their wing is a lot higher and then you go into the middle because then you kind of create that pincer effect onto yourself. But if you can just go back into that middle position and give your team a lot of support, it'll be a lot easier for them to survive. But that doesn't happen. George gets hit, you would expect Matt to make this a 1-for-1, and then Eddie's still doing a really good job of staying up high and just completely shutting off this winger and giving Matt Rag that free counter. It's just a nice dodge. Okay, so here's another example. This happened in the frame before, in the action before this, where Phantoms had 3 balls. What happened is all 3 players came up to this middle line really nicely, and George just stopped here. And Matt and Eddie have gone up. This time it's happened a bit more exaggerated. Eddie's putting the fake in now, where in the first set he wasn't. So Matt and Eddie have come up and faked, but because George has dropped really far back, I guess he feels quite threatened as this attacker's in this aggressive stance high up, whereas this winger's stayed really far back. Feels that pressure. But what that's causing is just making it really easy for the defenders, because now it's just a 50-50. These are looking here, and these have only got to look this direction. There's not like having to worry about over here. So that's just one thing that continued throughout this game is like a main feature of Phantom's 3 ball. So the second part of this game I want to talk about In the first game that these two teams played each other earlier in the season, this is a really common theme in this game where Phantoms would get up by 2 players or 3 and they wouldn't be able to finish sets. The doubles is a major thing. So you've seen there, Eddie's ran up really fast. Probably wants to slow down. I understand why he's not. But what's happened is he's released a first ball. I mean, George has got to be hitting there. But because it's so disjointed in the time, it's given them an opportunity to survive and come back. Matt's done a good job hitting there. So 1 for 1 when the catch is unfortunate. Obviously, we don't want to see someone get headshot in the centre of court. But if we skip forward a little bit now, I'm pretty sure Phantom should have had a ball, but we move anyway. So what's happened then is he's given them an opportunity. They've not finished it cleanly. And now you go into this situation in a 3v1. They've got no balls. And he's just able to get these hits. Makes what should have been a clean set a really shaky one, bringing a 4v2 down to a 1v1, which Phantoms then eventually win. So that's one thing to note, is the finishing ability of Phantoms in this Wessex series from the first and second has not been very strong. So I'm just going to kick back in. It's been a close set so far, moved into the end of the first half. It's really unlucky there by not being able to secure that. On this run by Matt here, he gets himself in a world of trouble. I'm assuming he's seen this, he was like, whether I go for this counter or not, he's seen the ball drop by his feet. But Matt's main asset is really just getting up this court as fast as possible. Especially with this player here, you'd expect him to be able to run him down and get that hit, because he starts shimmying in almost like walking up. He's just given the entire team so much time to get to the back of court. If he just sprinted in, if he just sprinted in earlier while the team was a lot higher, if in here he just ran up, he would have been able to catch him in this kind of zone where they've got so much less time to react. But instead, because he's like waddled up and given him enough amount of time, both players are fully at the back of court. He then just panics and tried to pick up this ball, thinking the set's over, and just giving the player here just a free shot at him, and it's just a great header. As wonderfully shown here by this wonderful spectator down here. On your head, son. So I just want to again talk about the walk up of both teams. I just want to draw a highlight. Wessex do this so well throughout both games. All 3 players are in this really aggressive line. They're faking at the same time. They get into those aggressive positions. Even when they're double faking, it's really coming well for them. I mean, you compare that to Phantoms in a second, you can really see the difference. Phantoms probably get a lot of more success from their 3-ball. That's probably more down to their throwing power. But you look 5 balls in this situation, George is really far back. Eddie's not even faked yet, and his fake's a little slow shoulder shrug. It's not really like a meaningful fake. I mean, he's moving, which is causing these players to react, so you can't take too much from that. But you can see the difference. Like, you've paused here, and the line's so jagged. No one's worried about George in this position. He's almost protected himself a little bit too much. So again, if I go back and just show you that Wessex walk up, which is so good throughout. They're walking up together, it's stopping, they're dropping off, they're putting a little pressure on when they need to. When you compare that to Phantoms once again, it's the main thing throughout this 2-game series where Phantoms really let himself down. Again, they've just done so well, and even with that, just great arms and great accuracy to get the hits despite that. But if they can clean that up, they'll have a lot more success. And just to exaggerate that point, this is the next play. Phantoms have 3 balls. It's like the next phase. The line again, really jagged. No one's worrying about George here. No one's looking at Eddie. They're all looking at Matt. Even the wingers. Only person looking at George is this guy over there, and that's because he's not really worried too much. But he gets the block. Retaliation. Eddie does good there to survive, but we'll see again. See if it happens back to back. Or back to back to back. Again. George staying way too far back. Eddie's getting into these nice positions and putting that arm up, giving Matt a bit more of a chance on the single. But because George is so low, this player is not even worrying about George. He has a straight line of sight to where the ball's coming from. He's not having to think about it.